UFC 290, Volkanovski versus Rodriguez, 14 fights on the card. I'm going to say it right now. Guys, what is Bo Nickel, Valentin Woodburn doing on the main card instead of, I have like 3 or 4 that I'd rather have on the main card. The first one, Robbie Lawler and Nico Price, retirement fight for one of the at least the top 5 welterweight of all time right there in Robbie Lawler, and a legend of the game in his final MMA fight. He deserves it more than debuting guy in Bo Nickel. Jack Della Maddalena, even though, he's also fighting a 7-0 undefeated guy. The men's, I believe, in the top 10 of welterweight division. He should be on the main card instead of Bo Nickel. Yasmin Jaragui, probably not. Jimmy Crut's ranked. Alonzo Minifield's right outside the top 15. They have numbers on their names. Again, I don't really know what Bo Nickel's doing on the main card right there. I could have understood a little bit with a Tresean Gore, but now you're getting freaking Valentin Woodburn. I don't know. But we're going to do this entire card, start from the bottom, make our way to the top. And as usual, if you want to help support the channel, a like does help out a little bit. Even if you don't like the video, if you want to help like the video, subscribe and comment your predictions. The big thing for the YouTube algorithm is just commenting all of your predictions, all of your bets. Whatever you want to comment, go down and comment that immediately. If you want to support this channel even more, this isn't a guarantee that you're going to make money betting on MMA. It's just all of the bets that I make for UFC, Bellator, PFL, Dana White's Contender Series, and so on. That is going to be the top link in the description or the pinned comment down below for literally $2.99. Help support the channel, and you get to see a few good bets every now and then. Sometimes we have bad nights, but that's the case of betting on MMA. So let's get into the betting breakdown here. Starting with Kamwilla Kirk and Esteban Ribovic. So I'm going to refresh because every now and then these odds change. All right, we got Esteban Ribovic at the best you're going to get him at right now is going to be minus 135 on Bet Any Sports. I haven't heard of that account, but those are solid odds. I'm going to be dead serious with you guys. 11-1. He is younger. He's the same height. He's got more of a finishing ability than Kamwilla Kirk with every single win coming in round number 1, except for 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's got, what is that? What would that be? Like 6 or 7 round 1 finishes and 4 round 2 and round 3 finishes. This dude is an absolute killer. If he gets you to the ground, he's ground and pound. He's looking for that finish. If he can't, he's going to knock you out on the feet because he is just that powerful. Not to mention Esteban is a lightweight. Kamwilla is not. But Kamwilla's only knockout loss, the only way I really would see him getting finished was Billy Quarantillo. And I'm going to be honest, Billy Quarantillo would mop the floor with my guy Esteban Ribovic. So I was thinking about this fight, and I was thinking if the fight would go to a decision, if there would be a finish. And I'm pretty torn on if Esteban will get that TKO or if he is going to get that decision win. But you got to think, betting on MMA is not necessarily what you think is going to happen. It's the most valuable thing you can possibly pick. Ribovic by TKO is plus 155. Ribovic inside the distance is at plus 100. Is there any value at all on that? For it to not go to a decision at minus 250? Are you kidding me? Nope. The only thing we're doing on this one would be a little sprinkle on either Esteban Ribovic by decision. That actually is getting better odds. Since it first came out, some money actually came in on not Esteban Ribovic by decision, which I think is crazy. And if you're like really split, you think Kamwilla can mix in those takedowns, you're still getting plus 180 here on Betway and plus 175 on BetOnline. You'll probably get some odds on all the other bookies for it to just go to a decision. And that's actually what I think will happen. It's not a confident one. I'm like 51% sure this fight goes to a decision. But that's value. If you're 51% sure on something or confident on something, and you're getting plus 180 odds, you got to sprinkle a little bit on there. There's not too many other props I like, but come on, ladies and gentlemen, Plus 180 for fight goes to a decision. That is 100% value. In the lightweight division, Shannon Ross and Jesus Aguilar in the flyweight division, 34 and 27 years old. A little bit of a hype, a little bit of reach for Shannon Ross right there, who is very, very solid on the feet offensively. We're not gonna talk too much about the defensively for my guy Shannon Ross, because this dude is not too good on the defense on the feet. Out of his losses, he's been knocked out 3 times. 2 of those ones were very, very recently. One of them was in his really, really early career when he was quite young for the UFC flyweight division at like 21, 22 years old. The dude's chin is just not there. I'm going to be honest with you. He might be able to land some good shots on Jesus Aguilar for a little bit, land some good combinations, pressure Jesus forward, defend a few of those takedowns, but all it takes is one big looping shot from a guy like Jesus Aguilar, who doesn't have any knockout wins, but still is a very powerful guy. All it takes is for him to land once, Shannon Ross to get a little bit scared, a little bit wobbly, and be like, oh shoot, I'm going to go in on a takedown and get caught in the guillotine choke submission that he is so famous for inside or outside of the UFC. His only loss in the UFC was Tatsuro Taira with that triangle armbar submission. But we kind of all knew that was going to happen. It's Tatsuro Taira. That dude is an absolute killer. Betting odds for the fight, not too bad for Jesus Aguilar. That I was wondering about the inside the distance. There's nothing else there. I mean, it's plus 100, minus 100. You're not getting much value at all on a Jesus Aguilar by a finish. Aguilar by submission, on the other hand, I did believe had some value. And those odds have just flipped. What is today? The 5th? They started out plus 250 and immediately a little bit of money came in on that line right there. So a lot of people are agreeing with me on that Jesus Aguilar submission win. That's pretty much it. You sprinkle a quarter unit, half unit on Aguilar by submission, or you risk it on the money line, because I do believe minus 140. I'm a little bit more confident than that. I mean, they were staying steady around minus 200, which seems fair for Jesus Aguilar in this fight. So the money line or that submission prop, they make some sense. Cameron Simon and Terrence Mitchell at bantamweight, 22 and 33 years old. There's literally an 11-year age difference here, and Terrence is usually more of a flyweight guy. He likes to go down and fight Kai Kara France on the Ultimate Fighter and, you know, get absolutely starched in round number 1, 30 seconds in. But that was a while ago. He's since moved up to bantamweight in 2022. And I'm not too sure if he stayed there, because that second one didn't show, but he was in the bantamweight division after that. So he's definitely gained some weight, especially as a 5'10 guy. He was pretty skinny for that flyweight limit. And Cameron Simon, 8-0, 22 years old, from South Africa, undefeated, all finishes except for 2 against Mana Martinez, where he was very close to the finish. And then Sinidila Managela, who is very, very good at not getting finished, and is a veteran of the game. Personally, I think Cameron Simon gets the TKO early, knocks out Terrence Mitchell round 1, round number 2. But you gotta think. You gotta think, guys. He's minus 500. What do you think the odds are gonna be on him by the TKO? Not very good. Simon by TKO is at minus 140 right now. Plus 100 I would have sprinkled on. Plus 100 I would have definitely sprinkled on. But Simon inside the distance is minus 300. For the TKO, it's at minus 140. I mean, in these situations when the odds are this lopsided, and you got a guy like Cameron actually coming off a decision win, now he's fighting Terrence Mitchell, making his UFC debut, most likely going to lose, but trying to prove that he actually belongs in the UFC by making this short notice call to maybe have a 3-4 fight future inside of the UFC. So what's he going to try to do? Not get finished by the youngster that is Cameron Simon. Test them a little bit. Not just go out there and get absolutely destroyed in round number 1 like the odds are insinuating. So You gotta look. What is Cameron Simon by decision? Well, it's crazy. It is absolutely insane. At plus 525. Ladies and gentlemen, plus 525. You bet $5, you make about, what would that be, like $25, $26 on that bet. That's value. That is 100% value, in my opinion. I'm more confident on Cameron Simon getting a decision win than I would be on Terrence Mitchell. And he got plus 5 something to plus 400. I mean, plus 525 for a decision win on a guy that in his last 4 fights as an MMA fighter, half of those had been decision wins. I'm just saying. I am just saying. I got high hopes for my guy Cameron Simon in the future, but I mean, those odds are very, very good for the decision. Vitor Petrino and Marcin Paraknio in the light heavyweight division. And first thing is the age, obviously. Who do they want to win? Who's the undefeated guy? Who is younger? Who is longer? Who's got more finishes in all of his 8 fights? That guy is going to be Vitor Petrino, with only 1 decision on Anton Turkalj, who has never been knocked out. And then Ewerton Pelokwani, who in his entire MMA career has only been finished twice, by submissions in both of those fights. He's a knockout guy. If he's fighting guys like Anton Turkalj and Ewerton Pelokwani, 2 guys that do not get finished by knockout. They get submitted, but they do not get TKO'd. It was understandable that he wasn't going to go out there and get those finished. But other than that, the man pressures forward. He's got good, solid defense, good technical striking, and then he's able to explode with some good, powerful shots. I actually have this one going to a decision. If you look at the career of Marcin Paraknio, he had 3 bad knockout losses in round number 1, not against good competition in 2 of them for Sam Alvey and Mike Rodriguez. One of them was great in Magomed Ankalaev, came back with decision wins on Khalil Roundtree and William Knight. But I'm going to be honest. I do believe Vitor Petrino is going to go out there and mix in some wrestling. I think he has the advantage over Marcin Paraknio here. We saw a guy like Felipe Lins absolutely control and dominate Marcin Paraknio on the ground with the wrestling. We saw, let's go over to Vitor Petrino's UFC stats. UFCstats.com, just to make a little bit of a point here, all right? Vitor Petrino's last fight with Anton Turkalj, who's a very good wrestler and grappler, he landed 7 of 9 takedowns, got reversals, submission attempts, a lot of control time. I think that's going to be a huge part of this game because there's a good shot Marcin could actually outstrike Vitor on the feet with his kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, Muay Thai, kickboxing, all of that type of stuff. And Vitor could just intercept that with a takedown. So I actually do have Vitor Petrino winning this fight by a decision. It's not at all confident that the fight's going to be a decision. But like I said in the Cameron Simon fight, with this level of value, for Vitor Petrino by decision to be at plus 550, and people are actually betting on that, ladies and gentlemen, that's a sprinkle in the making. Vitor by decision, the money line is not there. Minus 300, yes, that's not there. That is not there at all. Edgar Chairez and Tatsuro Taira in the flyweight division. It's a simple one. Don't bet the money line. Don't put Taira in a parlay because my guy Edgar Chairez is also a finisher. 0 decision wins, 6 submissions, and then 4 TKO wins, a lot of which coming in round number 1. Flying knee in 45 seconds. A spinning elbow midway through round number 1. And then another knockout win in 1:47 of round number 1. This dude, and then round number 2, 10 seconds. And this dude has crazy power in his hands and feet. So, I mean, that alone should tell you, don't freaking put Taira in the parlay. We go down the list a little bit to the props, which are going to be very interesting in my opinion, because I do have Tatsuro Taira by submission in round number 2, which is kind of right around where this over 1.5, under 1.5 is. So I don't really know if I want to risk it on that over 1.5, under 1.5. There is also the fact that Edgar Chairez is just going to have really good submission defense, knowing Tyra's game plan. As soon as Tyra gets on the back, he could be just like Damir Smagulov was to Grant Dawson last week and be really, really good at defending those takedowns. I do have him by submission, but if you look at this submission prop, come on, we're not doing anything with that. Minus 250 for Tatsuro Taira by submission is crazy in my opinion. Even the scorecards, no action, no. Putting that in the parlay, no. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this is a skip. This is a skip fight. This is one of those where the bookies are probably going to make a lot of money if Edgar Chairez can just dog it out and get a crazy comeback in round number 2, round number 3. It's a pass for me with Taira and Chairez. Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Menefiel, the rematch at UFC 290 in the lightweight division. This is an interesting one. They had the rematch a while back. At, I believe it was the last fight card where Volkanovski fought Islam Makhachev, so they're still going to be on another Volkanovski card. The money line now, I'd probably say no, but originally, I personally will say I put money on Jimmy Crute when those odds first came out. If I can remember correctly, I think it was like minus 102, so I actually had sort of underdog odds on Jimmy Crute when those odds first came out. But now, again, it's like the Cameron Simon fight. It's like the Vitor Petrino fight. They fought before. It was a decision that went all the way. Yes, Alonzo was really close to getting the knockout plenty of times. Jimmy Crute was really not that close to getting the finish on the ground at all in that entire fight. And if Jimmy Crute's able to nullify the strikes of Alonzo, land those takedowns, plus 550, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Again, I won't be surprised if Crute finds that submission, if he finds that TKO, or if Alonzo starches him like Jamal Hill did. But these decision odds on all these guys are racking up the numbers, and they are very, very high value. So that'd be it. It'd just be Jimmy Crute by a decision, because if you look at his last few fights, a lot of round 1 finishes. Jamal Hill lost, the injury loss in round 1, getting a few solid knockout wins and submission wins early on right there. 2 decision wins, 3 decision wins, and then a 4th fight that went to a decision. That is 4 fights out of 16 fights, meaning 25% chance that Jimmy Crute is going to be going to a decision. And out of his wins, if he's going to win the fight, that is 9, 10, 11, 12. That is 3 out of 12, which again is 25% of his wins that are going to a decision. That's plus 400. You're getting plus 550 on Jimmy Crute decision. I think that's what we're going to see. Yet again, a very, very hard-fought decision. Yasmin Jauregui and Denise Gomez at strawweight. I'm going to say it right now. Underdog or pass. Don't be the guy that parlays Yasmin Jauregui, that puts Jack Della Maddalena in that same parlay. Bo Nickel at minus 50,000. Tatsuro Taira adding Vitor Petrino and Cameron Sama. Don't be that guy. It's not really that worth it for Yasmin Jauregui at this point. The only thing would be if you're getting that. I mean, if you're on Betway and you're getting plus 130, that's value. Plus 110, plus 105, not as good. That's like a flip heads or tails. If it's heads, maybe I'll sprinkle on that one. But plus 130 is really, really solid, and about all I do for the fight. Fight goes to a decisions at minus 125. I'd like to see some plus money. So plus 130 on Yasmin by decision, half unit bet. Could be worth a very, very small sprinkle. Scorecards, no action, still are not that good. Denise Gomez is a finisher. So, yeah, don't money line, don't parlay Yasmin, decision prop, or pass. Jack Della Maddalena and Josiah Harrell at welterweight. 31 props finally came out. This one, yeah, I would literally just do Jack Della Maddalena. Minus 450 for that inside the distance. Parlay that with a few other things you're confident in. If you got Volkanovski winning, You got Robert Whittaker winning. Whatever other parlay pieces you can think of. Minus 950 for Jack Della Maddalena as the bigger guy, the more powerful guy, the better chin, the better wrestling, the better grappling, the more, I already said more powerful, the stronger guy. He's literally better everywhere. In my opinion, fluke things do happen, so don't bet money you're not willing to lose, especially in these parlays because they are very risky, as we saw last week with Garam Kutataladze, but minus 450. Why not? Put that in a parlay with a few other things and get yourself some solid plush money. Nico Price and Robbie Lawler. I'm going to say right now, minus 250 on Nico, no. No, if it goes to a decision, there's a solid chance in my opinion. The judges are like, oh, this is a veteran. It's his retirement fight. He may have got outstruck by like 4 or 5 strikes that round, but we're going to give him the win. It's his retirement fight. Come on. The least we can do. So no, we're not doing no minus 105 price inside the distance. We're not even doing a price by decision at plus 330 right there. But we might, sprinkle just a little bit on a Robbie Lawler decision. If you look at the guys that Nico Price is finishing inside of the UFC, it's James Vick with a crazy upkick. It's Tim Means in round 1 with a crazy KO. We got rear nakeds. We got hammer fist from bottom positions. He's got a lot of weird, wanky, crazy sort of finishes inside of the UFC. And yes, the dude does get finished in a lot of his fights. Vicente Luque, Abdulrazak Al Hassan, Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque again, and then Philip Rowe. Sorry to say, Robbie Lawler's not really that tier of fighter at this point in his MMA career. If he loses, it's going to be probably a decision in my opinion, because Nico only wins in those crazy scenarios. And he's only been finished by Brian Barberena and Ben Askren recently. And that Ben Askren one really wasn't that bad of a fight, because a lot of people think he wasn't actually asleep. Didn't get finished by RDA, Neil Magny, Colby Covington. I have a weird feeling Robbie's going to edge it out on the scorecards. My prediction is Nico Price by decision, but I might just sprinkle a little bit. Just a little bit. It'll help me if you try. I don't know. I'm trying to sing that song. Plus 550 on Robbie Lawler in his retirement to get that decision. It's worth like a tenth of a unit. Maybe a fifth of a unit. Something like that. Something small. Bo Nickel and Valentina Woodburn in the middleweight division. You already know. Do not parlay Bo Nickel. Okay, minus 2,500. If it's going to let me press his name. The Jamie Pickett one, he was at minus 1,650. Donovan Beard, minus 3,000. Zachary Borrego, minus 3,000. They're having Valentin Woodburn, who's so much better than Donovan Beard, Zachary Borrego, and is quite even to Jamie Pickett, at minus 2,500. I would have Bo Nickel the best, like minus 1,000. Kind of right where Tresean Gore was at, because he's a strong, stocky welterweight with crazy power in his hands. So, just saying, probably don't do anything there. But the Bo Nickel by round 1 submission would be about it. Whenever those odds come out, they're not out right now because the fight just got announced, I believe, yesterday. But round 1 submission for Bo Nickel, or just do not bet the fight at all. What are you doing? Don't bet the fight. But yeah, that's what I'd say for that fight. Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner in the lightweight division. Money line for Jalen Turner really is not there, but plus 240 on Dan Hooker. Sprinkle. I mean, it's a dog or pass for sure for Daniel Hooker right there. Over 1.5, under 1.5. Nah. Fight goes to a decision, plus 200. Not enough value in my opinion. I mean, Dan Hooker at plus 240. I'm more confident in Dan Hooker to win than I am the fight to go to a decision, especially with 2 high-level finishers here. Minus 143 for Turner to win by finish. No. But the thing, again, I always find one that's going to have some crazy, crazy high value. For this one, get in those plus 500s for a Dan Hooker decision. Maybe Jalen Turner empties the gas tank a little bit in round number 1, kind of like he did with Mateusz Gamrot, and ended up winning round number 1. Then he got outstruck and out-wrestled in round number 2 and round number 3. I think Dan Hooker can show some good takedown defense, keep this on the feet, lose round 1, and just out-volume Jalen in those later rounds. I'd say that happens more than 20% of the time for him to win that decision. So, plus 500, Dan Hooker by decision is definitely a valuable bet. You already know what I'm going to say here. Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis. You already heard my prediction if you watched that full card prediction. Fight to go to a decision is at plus 180 on my bookie. That's kind of crazy. Whittaker by TKO isn't bad. It's at plus 135, but a lot of them are having them at minus money, which is crazy. But you got to look at that. If we can find that unanimous decision. I haven't seen Robert Whittaker ever have a split decision. And just a regular old decision on, is this Betway? That's Unibet. Is at plus 220. And then I think that's Betway at plus 200. So you're getting double your money on a Robert Whittaker decision bet. If you want to know how Robert Whittaker wins his fights, Darren Till decision, Jared Cannonier decision, Calvin Gastelum decision, Marvin Vettori decision, Yoel Romero decision, Dude, come on, man. Plus 200 doubling your money on a Robert Whittaker decision is value. I'm not seeing any unanimous decision bets. I'm assuming that'd be like plus 250. But that's what I'd be sprinkling on a quarter unit, maybe a half unit on Whittaker decision or unanimous decision. Brando Moreno and Alessandre Pantoja in the flyweight division. It's an interesting one. The money line, I don't think there's a lot of value either way on Moreno or Pantoja. Fight goes to a decision is fairly 50-50 right there. If you're getting 50-50 on it, maybe you bet a little bit on that plus money. The starts round 2s, all of that, I don't think you should do, because this could be just one of those random finishes. They could be fighting really, really even for 3 straight rounds, and then boom, something happens. I believe if Moreno is going to get the finish, it will be in those later rounds. Like round number 3, round number 4, kind of like his Kai Kara France fight, but I'm not liking much. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like the money line either way. Not a lot of money on minus 200 for Brandon Moreno. I don't think Moreno will get the submission. Pantoja's not going to get the TKO. Pantoja's never been knocked out, so I doubt that. Pantoja decision has value for sure, but I'm feeling a Brandon Moreno unanimous decision here, and yeah, it kind of seems like a pass to me. I'm going to be honest. It seems like a pass. That's what I'll say. Maybe a Brandon Moreno decision for plus 215, but that's about it. There's not much there for Brandon Moreno, Alessandre Pantoja, in my opinion. Main event, Alexander the Great Volkanovski in the UFC featherweight division. His odds are moving around a little bit. He was on Betway right here. He was... Where was he for a second? Minus 425. Now he's at minus 350. So obviously some money is coming in on Yair Rodriguez. I do actually have Yair losing by TKO in this fight. I got Volkanovski pushing the pace so hard in round 2, round 3, and just gassing out Yair once it comes to round 4 with the wrestling, with that ground and pound. And I got him getting a round 4 TKO, but I definitely do not expect an early finish, which is why, over 1.5. Over 1.5 could be good, because that's like the same odds as Alexander Volkanovski by himself. I mean, Yair Rodriguez could get a finish in under 1.5 rounds, but if Volkanovski is getting that finish, it's going to be later on in the fight. So that over 1.5, I believe, is pretty solid. The Volkanovski to win and the over 1.5 is very, very solid. There's one that I see every now and then. I don't think it's on here, but it's like Volkanovski to win in round 3, 4, 5, or by a decision. I like those type of bets, especially for an Alexander Volkanovski fight where he just continues to get better and better and better as the fight goes on. That'd be it. Over 1.5 in the parlays. Put Volkanovski by round 4, round 5, or decision. Could be in the parlay as well, but for the money line, as of right now, minus 400. I don't know. I don't think there's much value on that. But that is it for the betting breakdown for UFC 290. Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez, Brandon Moreno, Alessandro Pantoja, and so many other fights. If you guys liked the video, you already know, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and do all of that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.